Why Arsenal urgently needs a top striker is something we're going to be looking into. We definitely know that a lot has to be done this January transfer window, and really, we are going to be talking about a game that was played yesterday night, And I must say, Arsenal fans are late really talk about last night's game. Arsenal managed to win that 1-0 between Ipswich Town, with Kai Havertz scoring the decisive goal, and on the surface, it definitely looks quite routine. It looks a routine win. But if you watched the game closely, there is a bigger story to tell, and it's about inefficiency in front of the goal, and actually a lack of a clinical finisher, and also the lack of a clinical finisher, and a growing need for a top class striker to lead the line of the football club Arsenal. Today we will dive straight into the problem and also break down Arsenal's attacking statistics, compare them to their title rivals, and also discuss the possible solutions in the January transfer window. And my name is Abu Kals, and I must say this is Arsenal Online. And Arsenal's performance against Ipswich is something we need to get into. And let's start by analyzing this Ipswich game. We know that Arsenal dominated ball possession, controlled the midfield with Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, plus it created 14 attempts on goal. But here's the big issue. Only 4 of those shots were on target. And Gabriel Jesus, who has been leading the line for the football club Arsenal, had another underwhelming performance, contributing very little in terms of the decisive attacking output. So his rating was at 4.1. He had a 4.1 rating, and it reflects his ability to make meaningful impact, which is not very good. So on the other hand, Kai Havertz stepped up with a well-taken goal, but it's important to note that Kai Havertz is not a natural striker. He is being deployed in the role out of necessity, not that he is a striker. And with this reliance on makeshift solutions highlights the deeper issue. Arsenal's lack of a true number 9 who is consistently delivering goals. That's the main issue here. So Arsenal's scoring woes really is something we need to look into, and we definitely know that. Let's first talk about the goal scoring statistics this season. We know that the Gunners have scored fewer goals than both Liverpool and also Manchester City, who are currently the biggest rivals, even though Manchester City is way down. But when we talk about football, Manchester City has been rivaling Arsenal in recent seasons. So while Arsenal's midfield really and wingers contribute significantly to the team's overall play, there is a noticeable lack of goals coming from the central striker position. So let's talk about Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus, while a brilliant player in terms of pressing and also link-up play, he has been a prolific goal scorer, and his conversion rate is quite concerning. And is in games like the one against Ipswich Town, where the team dominates but struggles to score, this weakness becomes glaringly, I must say, becomes quite obvious. So if Arsenal are serious about challenging the title, they cannot afford to have their striker missing key chances and also failing to impose himself on games. And this wasn't a very, very massive game. We're talking about Ipswich, one that is in relegation zone, that could even be relegated, And we need to having talked about that. Now let's compare with title rivals. To Arsenal's striker solution into the perspective, let's compare them. Let's compare Arsenal to Liverpool, and we also compare Arsenal to Manchester City. And Liverpool's currently top of the Premier League table, and they definitely have an informed Darwin Nunez leading the line, and also they've got an unstoppable Mohamed Salah contributing heavily with goals. They average over 2.5 goals per game, which is significantly higher than Arsenal. So, Manchester City, as we definitely know, have had Erling Haaland, a football player who guarantees goals. And we know Haaland does not just score, he converts chances at an elite rate, turning tight games into comfortable victories. Not of recent, I mean, they've not had a win in something like 13 games and no win, 12 games, no win. One win, I think, in 13 games, something like that. You see how bad it is. But they lack football players. They've got injuries, things like that. But on the realistic point of view, on a very good day, you can see how organized they are. So Arsenal, in contrast, really often find themselves scrapping through games like the one against Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town, it should be a comfortable win. So I must say, without a clinical striker, these narrow wins could easily turn into frustrating draws, and then that's the difference between winning a title and falling short. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the impact of a top striker. Let's talk about the massive impact of a top striker. What a top striker really can bring and stuff like that. So, what difference? What difference would a top striker make? What would it make for the football club Arsenal? Now, if first, it would take some of the scoring burden off the football players like Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, and plus Leandro Trossard. So these football players are quite brilliant in their roles, but should not have to carry the team's goal scoring problems and responsibilities. They could be providers, They could just be providers. So Arsenal really lack that number 9. A proper number 9 would also allow Arsenal to be more unpredictable in the attack. Right about now, teams know what exactly they know that Arsenal really rely heavily on wingers, and also they rely on wingers to make sure they can create chances and also score, to make sure that wingers score and again also create chances. They know that the wingers, it's quite hard on them, and they can capitalize on that. So with a clinical finisher, and a clinical striker, opposing defenses would definitely have to spread their focus, making Arsenal's attack more dynamic and unpredictable and harder to defend against. And that is what you definitely need from a striker. So I must say, ladies and gentlemen, the January targets. Let's talk about the January transfer window a little bit, and the potential January transfer targets. Let's look at the January transfer window and the options that Arsenal have to solve this big, or you can call it massive problem, because it is. There are several strikers who have been linked with a move to the Emirates Stadium, and let's start with Benjamin Sesko, the young Slovenian talent. It will be noted that the Slovenian talent is making waves in Europe. It will be noted that Benjamin Sesko is tall, fast, and a clinical finisher, and exactly what the kind of football player that Arsenal could use to lead the attack at the club. So another name that has been making rounds is Jonathan David, who has consistently delivered in League One. Jonathan David, known for his versatility and the ability to score in a variety of situations, really, whether it's in a tight game or in an open contest, he definitely scores. Having talked about them, I've also talked about yet another exciting football player, the French international. We're talking about Rando Kolo Muani, who is another option. So his physicality, his pace, and also finishing make him a great fit for the Premier League and also for Arsenal in particular. So imagine him leading Arsenal's attack with Bukayo Saka and Martinelli providing the service. that would definitely be it would be a very dangerous striking section. So finally, there is Dusan Vlahovic, who has been linked to Arsenal for several transfer windows. Every transfer window, Dusan Vlahovic is linked. So Vlahovic is a proven goal scorer at the highest level and would be an instant upgrade in the striker position, So what happens if Arsenal do not act? What exactly happens? But what happens if Arsenal don't sign a striker in January? The risk is quite significant, and you can't take it for granted. As the season definitely progresses, games will get tighter, and the margins of the errors will shrink. So a lack of a clinical finisher could definitely cost Arsenal crucial points in the title race, especially top tier teams or in must-win matches. So definitely Mikel Arteta and the Karaoke family need to think about that. They should invest in this January transfer window. Relying solely on Gabriel Jesus, really, or forcing midfielders like Kai Havertz into striker roles is not a sustainable strategy. So Arsenal could definitely find themselves falling short in the Premier League and even in other competitions like the Champions League, because Arsenal is going to be going for the Champions League. So where actually small mistakes really can lead to elimination. Anyway, having talked a lot, having talked everything that you need to know, I must say, in conclusion, Arsenal have made a tremendous progress under Mikel Arteta, but take the final step and truly challenge for the Premier League title. I must say, Arsenal definitely to do that, they need to address the striker situation, and the top class striker is definitely needed. And we know that the striker would not only improve a goal scoring output, but also the striker would add a new addition and also a new dimension to the attack of the football club Arsenal. So in the January transfer window, we know that the January transfer window presents a golden opportunity to make this move, whether it is Benjamin Sesko, David Jonathan, Rando Kolomoani, or Dusan Vlahovic. We know that Arsenal must act quickly and decisively, and because in football, we do not you do not win titles just by creating chances. You win titles by finishing them. Finish the chances, win the titles. Let me know in the comment section who you definitely think Arsenal should sign in the January transfer window, and also agree that the striker is missing. The missing piece. If you do agree, let me know that in the comment section. Do you really think the current squad can push through? Do you think the current squad can win the EPL? Do not forget to like this video and also subscribe for more in-depth analysis right about here at Arsenal Online. Thanks for watching, and ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next video.